Everybody hear me? Okay. All right, I need y'all to reach in your pocket and bring out $100 bills and pay, brother. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Oh, well, I'm trying to get paid. Don't hate on me. All right, anyway. Where's she at?
Hey, up in 2009, right before I graduated from Ohio State. I was a theater major, didn't know what I was going to do, so when I got out of school and was like, hey, I want to jump into the business world, a lot of people didn't take me serious, but I'm really thankful that my resume had Who's Who Publishing on it. Got me through a lot of doors, so I'm just kind of happy now that I'm in big girl roles, that that I just can kind of help move this train along. So I think everybody who's in here today, I think everybody who's dealt with our craziness, this is going to be a great year. And I just want to introduce Alicia Martin, who is Sunny's daughter, and she just is going to bless the room for us real quick.
All right, good evening, everyone. He asked me to do this, so I was like, okay. Again, my name is Alicia Martin. I've grown up watching my father do business adventure after business venture, just honoring Black people in any way that he can. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, and grew up in the time of like the Atlanta Olympics in '96, where Atlanta was really kind of emerging as a city, a Black mecca for people to start businesses and be affluent and successful within those businesses within the city of Atlanta and beyond, and just kind of seeing like what Black wealth looked like at a very young age and having that representation in front of me at all times. It was very inspiring, and a lot of people in this room, I remember when I was a little kid and just being, I even tell my students the first Black mayor of Columbus, like I'm asking them, I'm an educator now, but I'm asking them these questions and I'm trying to expose them because I work with predominantly Black students at the high school that I work for now, and it's just amazing to be able to see so much success in one space at one time, and just understanding that our youth are at a very vital place right now post-pandemic, and there's a lot of energy in our city right now, and it would be just nice for them to have this kind of exposure. So I just want to encourage everyone from an educator's perspective to go back to your communities, your hometowns, and pour into young people because they need it now more than ever. So that's my own little PSA. But just want to take time to bless this evening. So if everybody can bow their heads and close their eyes. Thank you, dear Heavenly Father, for this time together of gathering and worship and community, Lord, and we just thank you for Sonny Martin and everything that he's done to uplift people of color in different communities within this city, within this state, within this country, Lord. And we just thank you for everybody who showed up tonight, even in spite of the weather, Lord, and parking challenges or anything else that they may have to overcome to be here in this space, Lord. I just ask that connections and partnerships will be made tonight, Lord, so that people can further the good work that they're already doing in this community, Lord, and just allow us to have a positive energy and positive time and vibes with each other so that we can support each other in business and life in every way so that we can continue to prosper and build our city up to be the place that we want to build our future generations in Jesus' name. And I just ask you to bless this space, this event, and everybody who's being honored in this publication, and that it continues and that people continue to feel highlighted and celebrated because that's what life is about. And everybody get the fruits of everything that they put into their work on a day-to-day basis. Bless this space and help everybody have traveling mercies on the way home. Thank you so much.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
All right.
Next, I'm going to have, I can't stop saying Mayor Coleman, so forgive me, but I'm going to have Michael Coleman. We just want to thank you so much for hosting us, for being the sponsor, for really believing in everything that Mahagony Media is doing. So I would just like for you just to kind of welcome everybody.
Sure.
And, thank you.
Sure. So I guess you're wondering why I'm with this thing. I had my knee replaced. And so I'm in the process of recovery.
Yes.
And hating every minute of it. But this is one bright day for me, even though it started out as a pretty tough day. Snow was on the ground, raining, it was cold. And it gave me an opportunity to reflect upon how far we've come in a period of time.
Yes.
I've known Sonny Martin for almost 40 years.
Now, come on, man.
Yeah, all the way back. We're going to talk about that. It's a different time, different place. But I think about how important it is to promote black folks.
Amen.
How important it is to promote the talent that exists in the city. Whether it's young or old, professional, whatever. Promote black folks.
Yes.
See, I can remember where the city of Columbus back in 2007 was named by Ebony Magazine and Black Enterprise as the #1 city for African American families.
Amen.
That's the city of Columbus.
Yeah.
And a big part of that was Sonny Martin. Because Sonny, the entrepreneurial spirit that he has, is always about promoting others.
Yes.
When he had the leadership publication, Who's Who. We had Who's Who Columbus, Who's Who Atlanta, Who's Who Chicago. We did a Who's Who among black mayors as well. If you remember that.
Yeah.
And judges.
And judges. We had Who's Who. And you know, it's okay to talk about the gifts that our community has been bestowed upon through the talent that's in this room and over the course of years.
Yeah.
Sonny was always pushing it. So when Sonny came to me, he said, I'd like to do something. I want you to sponsor a reception for Mahagony magazine. I said, it's done. And here you are today. This is a time of celebration and recognition. Celebrate the strength of the black community in the city of Columbus. Applaud yourself. Yes. But also applaud Mahagony Media, Sonny Martin, Asia and the team for designing something that's going to put forth all of you in one way or another.
Yeah.
Where we can network, where you can deposit funds in the bank we're starting, a Delphi, a black bank that's going to open up any day now.
All right.
I want to thank you for being here. This is the law firm of Ice Miller. I'm a partner in this law firm. There's several folks here in this group that is also a part of this law firm. I thank you for being here, but the real star of the show is standing behind me. Sonny Martin.
Next, I just want to publicly thank our platinum sponsor, Chase Bank and Jason Smith. Again, somebody else that as soon as we made the phone call, as soon as we went and met with them, he said, oh yeah, you know, we got to jump on this. So we really can't thank you enough for having our back and, you know, jumping on the train with us. So if you just want to come up here and say a few words.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Asia. Thank you, Sonny, for the introduction, and thank you for the Mahagony Media Group for allowing J.P. Morgan Chase to be a part of this event and bringing us all together. I appreciate you very much. So, again, I'm Jason Smith, the Executive Director for Advancing Black Pathways with J.P. Morgan Chase. It's an honor and a privilege to be in this room surrounded by a community actively advocating for minority communities, just as you said, Mayor Coleman, a priority shared by J.P. Morgan Chase and myself. Whether you live in Ohio, New York, or anywhere in the world, we've seen economic disparities continue to grow wider. That makes this moment, the opportunity to stand among so many powerful individuals engaged in closing that gap, truly unique. So in 2020, J.P. Morgan Chase committed $30 billion, and that's billion with a B, to advance racial equity in the United States and all around the world. We are focused on the key drivers of wealth, increasing home ownership and affordable housing, growing Black, Hispanic, Latino-owned small businesses, improving access to banking in Black, Hispanic, and Latino communities, and accelerating our own diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And as part of the racial equity commitment, excuse me, the firm hired 150 community managers across the country. Those new leaders will connect the community to tools and resources focused on financial health, housing, and small business. Here in Columbus, Erica Wicks, raise your hand for me. Erica Wicks and Alicia Jones, unfortunately, yes, let's give her applause for Erica Wicks. So her and Alicia, and unfortunately Alicia couldn't be here, she was a little under the weather today, but they serve as Central Ohio's community managers. So please take a moment to speak with Erica following our wrap up here. So we also have a deep focus on building and supporting our diverse workforce and supporting youth as they prepare for the future workforce. Through our Advancing Black Pathways initiatives, we are focused on strengthening the economic foundation of Black communities around the world. We seek to address historical barriers to economic growth in Black communities through investments and programs focused on advancing career opportunities for Black talent, expanding and supporting Black-owned businesses, and improving financial health in our Black communities. Another initiative, our Black Wealth Initiative, is J.P. Morgan Private Bank, and its intentional effort to be the bank of choice for high net worth Black individuals and families, and the employer of choice for Black advisors and investors. Launched in 2021, the group engaged bankers, investors, and wealth strategists dedicated to engaging Black families across the country with tailored content, experiences, and advice. The Black Wealth Initiative, the Black Wealth Initiative group also focuses on furthering the private bank's recruitment efforts for Black private bankers, concentrating on hiring internal support and development resources. And with us today, we have Donna Binder. Please wave. So please connect with Donna before you leave. So we strongly believe that the sheer scale and complexity of the economic challenges we're facing as a community can only be addressed when public and private stakeholders come together, which brings us here today. So I want to thank again Sonny Martin and the Mahagony Media Group for their commitment to creating and providing opportunities for historically underrepresented communities to thrive. I've seen the impact that publications like these they have on the communities and organizations that you partner with. So on behalf of J.P. Morgan Chase, we're honored to be a corporate sponsor and partner. Thank you very much.
Again, Jason and Chase, thank you guys so much. Finally, just to kind of wrap this up, I just want to bring up Sonny. Again, I just want to publicly thank Sonny for what he has done to put me in, like I said, some of my big girl positions. I'm happy to be part of this team. I'm happy to be part of this room where there's so many of you guys that will have a place in Columbus history. So again, thank you so much, and Sonny Martin, everybody.
Man, you need to sit down.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Are you sure?
I'm good, man. If I sit down, I
You
may
got
not get back.
a hitch in your giddy up. Your glide, your slide is a little slow, so you might want to sit down.
Okay.
But I need you to sit down first.
You want me to sit down?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's different.
I'm in control of this piece right here.
All right.
So listen, this is the craziest thing that's ever happened to me in 35 years in publishing. I had my very first meeting with COSI There is a gentleman here by the name of Curtis Jewell. Where are you at, Mr. Jewell? Hello. Right there. So I hadn't seen him in 12 years. He's been featured in many of our books. And he just sold his business. I went to his office, and he's got the very first plaques of Who's Who on his wall. And I don't even have that. I said, oh, that's what my first book looked like. He still had it on his wall, been hanging there for 22 years. And so we got to talking, and we met at a restaurant in Bexley, and he was telling me about Dr. B. I said, who's Dr. B? He said, you don't know Dr. B? He's the CEO of COSI. I said, I don't know Dr. B, Dr. D, Dr. C. I don't know Dr. B. I know Who's Who guy, and I'm supposed to know everybody, right? And so Curtis goes on to tell me, and we're eating lunch. I think we had some drinks too. No, you had. Oh, you didn't. Okay. And Greggy, you was with me, right? And so he goes on to tell me this incredible story about Dr. Frederick Bertley and what the work he's doing over at COSI. And he just kept on expounding upon it. He said, listen, man, that's where I put my philanthropic money at. They're doing wonderful things. I was on the board there, blah, blah, blah. They're doing this, they're doing that. And I'm like, and I had to shut up because it hit my spirit. And the reason it hit my spirit is my little baby brother didn't play football. He didn't play basketball. He didn't play baseball. Every Saturday morning, from Fairwood and Livingston, we lived in a half house. Mine was totally disabled by the age of 33. I was a football player. I got a scholarship to go to high school to play football. Wow. I had this little nerdy brother. And we called him Get Me the Space Child. Because he was talking about going to space. Now, if y'all ain't never lived in the hood, well, you somebody talk about going to space. Yeah. They need some counseling. They got other issues going on. And I used to tell my mom, I said, Mom, he needs some professional help. He don't want nothing for Christmas but a microscope and books on space. Yeah. He's this little. I come home on a Friday for a big football game, get my uniform clean, and there's a tent in the backyard. Ain't no tent in the backyard in the hood. We got rats bigger than Lassie running around in the alley. Who puts a tent in the backyard? And I come from the alley and I look, where does tent come from? And I peel back the tent and there's extension cords coming out the tent, up the stairs in the back, into the house. And I look and my little brother's in there. He got a little lamp in there, some sardines and crackers. He got a bottle he gonna do his business in. And he told me he gonna stay in that tent on a Friday till it's time to go to school on a Monday. Wow. Because he best wanted to emulate what it'd be like being in a space capsule. Wow. I walked out and said, Mom, I'm telling you he got a problem. Ain't nobody do this in the hood. Ain't nobody talk about going to space. She said, leave him alone. He gonna grow up to be a big scientist one day. Yeah. And so I kind of let it alone. John Glenn gets him into the Air Force Academy. He comes back to Ohio State. He drops out the academy. There's some racial stuff going on there. Yeah. And he goes to Ohio State. He graduates from Ohio State, microbiology. He gets his master's degree in nuclear physics. And then in the Air Force, he's an officer. He applies to be an astronaut. Wow. He finishes in the top 10 selection on the first go-around of being an astronaut. Wow. My little brother. Yeah. You can only apply twice. He didn't make it. And he said he didn't make it because there were senators' kids and congressmen's kids ahead of him. Yeah. And he's from the hood. Yeah. And I said, listen, man, try again. He gets Senator John Glenn to write a 5-page letter on why he needs to be an astronaut. Wow. To the selection committee. Wow. Unfortunately, there were some troubling times that John Glenn was having with the savings and loan scandal that weakened the country, and he wasn't in good shape. You know, and Charles Keating had taken it all down. And the selection committee changed the rules in the middle of the game. Wow. That no sitting politician could write a letter of recommendation for any astronaut candidates. Wow. So they weren't able to see the letter that John Glenn wrote for my little baby brother. I had moved to Atlanta, and he came to visit me. He finished again in the top 10 selection and didn't make it. The only time in his life I ever saw him cry was he standing in front of me in my office, my desk. And we had a mother that was our mother and our father. We didn't have a father. And she wasn't about no crocodile tears coming from none of our eyes. And I said, you need to wipe them tears off. It ain't over yet.
Right.
He said, you can only apply it twice. I said, what are you going to do? What's your plan? He says, I'm going to go get my MD degree, and then I'm going to get my JD degree, and I promise you I'm going to end up working at NASA with the astronauts. I said, well, handle your business, get it done. Yeah. Goes back to Ohio State, gets his MD degree. The Houston Space Center is starting this new program called Space Medicine. Wow. When he tells me about space medicine, I'm thinking that there's some little people over at Wright Pat that we don't know about that they're trying to do something with. And he's a doctor. I said, what's really going on? He said, no, I mean, space medicine is how the astronaut's body handles their health in space. I said, oh, that's way over my pay grade, dog. The Air Force loans him to NASA. After he got 2 degrees, medical ER doc, and the degree in space medicine. He's working at NASA. His dreams of this.
Yeah.
27 shuttle missions.
Yeah.
Becomes an astronaut's doctor.
Yeah.
My little baby brother from 771 Fairwood Avenue. We lived in a half house.
Yeah.
Mother was in a wheelchair. But it all started with COSI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It inspired him.
Yeah.
Amen.
With the exhibits they had there, and every Saturday he'd be like the Wicked Witch of the West on his little bicycle. Gonna ride the coast on Saturday morning. Mom, something ain't right with this boy. You know? And those of you that know me personally know that I lost my little brother in 2008 in a tragic plane crash. Because after he left NASA for 7 or 8 years, he was over there as an astronaut physician. He became the deputy commander of an Air Force Base medical unit over in Guam. And you're a doctor in the Air Force, you're a flight surgeon. So you have to take pilots up for search and rescue missions. And it was a B-52 that he was doing a training mission with. Pilot lost control of the plane and it crashed in the Pacific Ocean. And so when Curtis was telling me this story about, there's a black guy over at COSI, he's my man, here's what he's doing, he's helping to get young kids to envision science and STEM and this, that, and the other, and he's my man. I said, well, I got to meet this Dr. B. So I went over and meet him. Now, hold the story right there. I'm a storyteller, but I live it, right? Back to our famous mayor here. I met with the COSI folks. Dr. B was out, he was in France or something, they said. I didn't meet with him. So I meet with our mayor. The first black mayor of Columbus, Ohio, the longest serving mayor in the history of Columbus, Ohio. And people had love for him like they had love for Obama. And he was doing a lot of things. And we didn't always agree with a lot of things, but I told him about, hey, listen, I'm going to do this Mahagony magazine. And his first issue, my editorial calendar says, some influential attorneys and influential bankers are going to feature. Because I'm saying to myself, if lawyers ain't got money and bankers ain't got money, nobody got money. This would be a good jump start from a magazine. So he asked me, well, who's going to be on the cover? And I said, I've already talked to Dr. B's people, and I'm waiting for them to get back with me because I'm going to put him on cover. And Michael said, okay, well, I want to sponsor your event when the first magazine come out, this, that, and the other. So I said, okay, stick a pin in it. I leave and go, where's she at? The Supreme is in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
She's in the back.
The Supreme, I need the Supreme to come to the first room. I go be with one of my favorite people in the world. One of my favorite people in the whole wide world. The very first African American is sitting on the Ohio Supreme Court. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Yvette McGee Brown. I didn't know, I've been out of business 12 years, kind of retired. They see me Jones Day. I said, oh, shoot, she in high cotton. Because Jones Day was a big client of mine in Atlanta. And you go to Atlanta, you see that sign Jones Day. all over the city. So I go to visit her, and I walk in the lobby, and I'm like, my God, there's money up in this place. Lord have mercy. I ain't never seen a law office decked out like this. And I said, it's fitting for the queen. It's fitting for the supreme. And I go meet with her. I see a couple who's who plaques up on our wall, and we just got to talking. And my relatives loved it. They were the trustees over Shiloh Baptist Church. And I said, just seeing her and being in her presence, I can't tell you what it did for my spirit. To know that through all the years in the whole history of Ohio, this is the first black woman to sit on that bench at the highest level. That's Michael Jordan and Brian James. Right? Don't hate me, Michael. Don't hate me, Dr. B. I got caught up in the moment, and I told her, I said, you're going to be on the cover of my magazine. I got love for you. I leave her office to get back. Agent calls me up. Dr. B's people called, they're ready for the photo shoot to be on the front cover. I said, oh my God, Batman, I got problems. I got big problems, right? And I said, okay, I ain't never had this. I've done 65 books all over the country. I ain't never had this situation. I made a promise to her. I had to give my mind some credit. And then Dr. B. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Mike Coleman, I need you to come up to the front of the room. He's on the cover of a magazine. Hold on. Dr. B is on the cover of the magazine. And our Supreme is on the cover of the magazine. And that's how we do things. We do things differently, right?